I lost 46 pounds in less than 6 months and went from 25 to 9% body fat. But honestly, getting that lean was one of the worst decisions I've ever made. That's why I'm making this video, to tell you the whole story and show you what I would do differently if I was starting over, so you can learn from my mistakes and get lean the right way, without wrecking your health, your happiness, and your hormones. So full screen the video and let's lock in. All right, gents, strap in. This story starts the same way all the best comeback stories start, with heartbreak. It was December 2017 and the girl of my dreams had just dumped me. And like a lot of men do, instead of actually dealing with my feelings, I decided to channel all that hurt into the gym and get as shredded as possible, as fast as possible. Partly to feel better about myself, and if I'm honest, partly to make her regret it. Now, for context, I'd already been training for about 10 years at this point, and I'd always blame my genetics for the fact that I could never get lean enough to see my abs. But the honest truth is, I never really knew what I was doing. I'd just turn up, do a few sets of bench press, a few bicep curls, have a chat with the gym bros, scroll on my phone, and then go home and eat pasta because I was bulking. This time was different though, because for the first time in my life, I went all in. I tracked my food, I followed a proper workout program, I did my cardio, I cut out the booze, and I'm not even joking when I tell you I think this was the first time in my life I'd actually trained my legs properly. And the results came fast. The weight was falling off of me. I could see my abs starting to come through for the first time ever. My confidence was through the roof. My energy was sky high. I was getting stronger in the gym every single week, and honestly, I felt incredible. I thought I'd cracked it. I thought, if this is what losing fat feels like, then why doesn't everyone do this? But what I didn't realize is that I was heading straight for a cliff edge. The warning signs were there, I just wasn't listening to them. And I was about to find out the hard way just how badly I was getting this wrong. It all started when the comments from my mates went from, "Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?" to, "Are you okay?" My energy, which had been through the roof, was now on the floor. My mood was all over the place. I was irritable with people for no real reason. The brain fog had set in too. I couldn't think straight, and my sex drive had, well, let's just say it wasn't great. The thing is though, when you're that deep into something, when you're that fixated on a number, you rationalize everything. I told myself that the tiredness was just from my training, that the brain fog was stress. I'd even convinced myself that it was normal to cry yourself to sleep when you're hungry. So I kept going. But thankfully, everything changed in April 2018 when, of all things, I had to get my passport renewed. Because when that photo came back, I genuinely didn't even recognize myself. And even though I'd looked at myself in the mirror every single day for the last 4 months, I didn't realize how gaunt my face had become. I looked like I was on drugs. Hollow cheeks, ghostly white skin, tired eyes. I looked ill, not lean, not athletic. Ill. I chased this thing to feel better about myself, to feel more confident, to look like the version of me I'd always wanted to be. I'd lost 46 pounds and I genuinely thought I'd won. But standing there, looking at that photo, I'd realized I'd gone too far. But in all honesty, I don't regret it, because getting to 9% body fat taught me something that no YouTube video and no amount of research ever could. It taught me that there's a very fine line between lean and too lean. Now, hindsight is 2020, but looking back, I didn't need to lose 46 pounds. Funny thing is, I was actually chasing 50, but that passport photo stopped me dead in my tracks. In reality, I think I needed to lose about 35, but those last 10 pounds cost me everything and gave me nothing in return. And I want to save you from making the same mistake. So let me walk you through exactly what was happening to my body during that time. And more importantly, what I would do differently if I was in your shoes right now. Quick question before we carry on though. What body fat percentage are you chasing right now? Drop it in the comments. I'd be really interested to know. Okay, so one of the first things that happens when you get too lean is that your hormone levels crash. And the worst part is it happens without you even realizing. This matters more the older you are too, because by the time you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s, your testosterone is already on a natural decline. And for context, back then, when I did this, I was only 30 and I really felt it. So the last thing you want to do is anything that drives it down even further. But that's exactly what getting too lean does. Because when your body fat drops too low, I'm talking sub 12%, your testosterone drops with it. And that's a disaster, because testosterone isn't just about muscle. It's the hormone behind your energy, your mood, your libido, and most importantly, your drive. Testosterone is the hormone that makes hard things feel easy. In fact, not just easy, but exciting. So when you tank it chasing a set of shredded six-pack abs, you tank all of that too, which, looking back, explains everything that I was going through. And it doesn't stop there, because at the same time, your stress hormone, cortisol, starts climbing. And chronically high cortisol is miserable. It wrecks your sleep, it makes your body hold on to more water, it keeps you stuck in a constant state of stress, and it even breaks down muscle. So now you've got rock bottom testosterone and sky high cortisol at the same time. And that combination is exactly why I couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight, and felt flat and irritable all day long. Then you've got how it affects you in the gym. And if I'm honest, this is the one that really stung. Because for the first time in my life, I'd been getting stronger every week, building visible muscle, and loving how my body was looking. But once I got too lean, that changed almost overnight. My lift started going backwards. I was picking up niggling injuries I never had before, and I lost all my motivation to train hard. And what I didn't know at the time sounds so obvious now, but the aggressive deficit I'd put myself in had backfired. I didn't know that the other name for a calorie deficit is an energy deficit. And at this stage, my body was running on fumes. So you end up in this ridiculous situation where you get leaner, but you also get weaker and more fragile at the same time, which is obviously the exact opposite of what I wanted, and I doubt that's what you want either. Then there's the food, because when you get that lean, your body genuinely thinks you're starving to death. So it does everything it can to make you eat. It cranks your hunger up to 10, it makes food taste incredible, and it floods your brain with thoughts of eating. So you end up looking at food and thinking about food 24/7. I'm talking about watching cooking videos at 11 p.m., planning your whole day around your meals, and lying in bed thinking about breakfast. Complete obsession. But at the time, I thought I was just being a pussy, that I needed more willpower. But that's actually hundreds of thousands of years of survival instinct screaming at you to put the fat back on. You can't win that fight in the long term. And even if you could, staying that lean means your entire life has to revolve around it. You're weighing every meal, carrying your food around in Tupperware, turning down nights out with your mates. You can't even enjoy a holiday because every single food decision becomes a calculation. And that might be fine if you're a 22-year-old fitness influencer with nothing better to do. But if you're a grown man with kids and a real job, it's just not realistic. But all of those struggles paled in comparison to one thing. And that was that after all the sacrifice, all the struggle, all the hunger, all the misery, nobody gave a f***. Remember, one of my main drivers of doing this was to get some sort of revenge on my ex. But she didn't care. She'd moved on with her life. And it was the same with my mates. They just end up taking the piss out of you, telling you that you're too skinny. That was the hardest pill to swallow. That the only person on the entire planet who actually is thinking about your abs is you. It's the same as buying a new car or a new TV. For about 3 days, you're in complete awe of it. And then it just becomes the new normal and you're already thinking about the next thing. So you end up sacrificing your health, your sleep, your relationships, and your happiness, just chasing a hit of validation that lasts about 30 seconds before your brain goes, right, what's next? Now, I know for some of you, this is going to fall on deaf ears. This is what we call an unteachable lesson, because I can tell you all about it. I can warn you all against it, but a lot of you are still going to do it anyway and find out the hard way that it isn't worth it, just like I did. And if that's you, fair enough. I can't stop you. But if I could go back and do it all again, knowing everything that I know now, what would I actually do differently? Well, the first thing I'd do is slow down, because the biggest mistake I made was treating this like a race to the bottom. I wanted to be as lean as possible, as fast as possible, and I was willing to set fire to everything else to get there. But what I learned from my own experience and from coaching hundreds of men since is that getting lean is just like landing a plane. If you approach the runway nose down, 500 miles per hour, autopilot off, flying through thick fog, you're going to crash and kill everyone on board. That isn't going to work. You've got to come in slow, controlled, steady. And losing fat is no different. So to start, I'd run a much smaller deficit. Rather than slashing my calories as low as I could and try and live on 1,500 a day, I'd take it slow, aim to lose a pound of fat a week, and eat enough food so that I was fueled for hard training sessions, because that's what holds onto your muscle and strength while the fat comes off. I'd also make sure to give myself enough flexibility so that I could actually have a life, because monk mode might work for a 19-year-old living in his mummy's basement, but it's probably not going to work for you. And despite what some influencers and gurus might tell you, the odd meal out with your family or a couple of beers after a hard week isn't going to undo everything. In fact, in the long run, it's actually going to help you, just as long as it's not every week. I know some of you have very selective hearing, so I didn't want to leave that out. But jokes aside, this is important, because a plan that you have to white knuckle in complete isolation isn't a plan, it's a prison sentence, and you'll just quit sooner or later. Flexibility really is the key for long-term success. You have to give yourself mini mental aid stations so that you can find some joy in the journey. And finally, I wouldn't treat it as a race with a finish line at all. I'd focus on building habits I could keep for good so that getting lean and staying lean just became normal, instead of this brutal thing I feel like I have to grit my teeth through. Because the goal should never be to get as lean as humanly possible. The goal should be to find the sweet spot where you're lean enough to look great and feel great at the same time, and then actually be able to live there. And for me, and for the vast majority of men, that place is a well-muscled 15% body fat, where you're lean enough to feel confident with your shirt off, but not so lean that it dictates every decision and makes you feel miserable. And that's what 15% gives you. You're full of energy, you're high testosterone, you're getting stronger, you're building muscle, and best of all, once you get there, you can easily maintain it without weighing out your food to every gram or turning down every social event. For me, and for the vast majority of the men that I coach, It's the sweet spot, and I will die on that hill. Please don't make the same mistakes I did. I paid a premium so you don't have to. Learn from my mistakes. Don't chase a number that works against you. Get lean, get strong, get healthy, and then learn to enjoy living there. Because being in great shape is supposed to add to your life, not take over it. And if you want my help getting to a lean, healthy, sustainable 15%, that's exactly what I do with the Men on My Coaching program. I'll build you a plan that fits around your life. I'll take all the guesswork off your plate, and then I'll hold you accountable the whole way, so you get there without crashing your hormones or losing your mind. So if you want to see exactly how it works, you can click the link under the video, or you can scan the QR code on the screen, or you can click here and watch this video next, where I break down the 5 phases of fat loss that every man goes through. It's like a rite of passage. This is a real deep dive, and if you've enjoyed this video, you're going to love that one. And if you've made it this far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.